Sir, very happy morning to all.
Happy morning, sir.
Sir, this is a revision of TDS bar TCS, one of the most important topic for examination. Sir, TDS section 51, TCS section 52. Manihar Enterprises registered in Delhi is engaged in supply of various goods and services exclusively to government department or agencies and person notified under section 51. So we all know that, sir, 4 people are liable to deduct TDS under section 51. It has provided the information relating to supply made, their contract value and payment due against each of them in the month of October respectively as under. So one by one, I will tell you one thing: if you are revising these questions itself more than enough for TDS and TCS, and if you are covering the relevant RTP and MTP, that's a game over. Supply of stationery to Fisheries Department, Kolkata. That means our Manihar Enterprises registered in Delhi has supplied to Fisheries Department, Kolkata. So my dear lovable students, they are, sir, government department. As per section 51, government department are liable to deduct TDS. So what is the total contract value? 2,60,000. This is inclusive of GST. So calculator man, what is the GST rate? Sir, we have to go below. You are required to determine amount of tax, if any, to be deducted from each of the receivable given, assuming the rate of CGST, SGST and IGST are 9%, 9% and 18% respectively. So where this guy is situated in Kolkata, but the supplier is situated in Delhi, right? So what is the rate? 18%. So 2,60,000 divided by 118 into 100 comes to 2,20,000, which does not exceed, since a contract value does not exceed 2,50,000, the recipient should not deduct what? TDS. So I'm moving into the answer for the first part. As per section 51, read with section 20 of the What Act, and notification number something bar something following, persons are required to deduct CGST at 1%. Effective rate will be 2%, which is 1% CGST and 1% or IGST at 2% from the payment made or credited to the supplier, that is deductee of taxable, what, where total value of such supply under a contract exceeds how much? So these are the people who are liable to deduct TDS. Number 1, department or establishment of central government, state government or local authority or governmental agency or an authority or a board or any other body set up by an act of parliament or a state legislature or established by any government with 51% or more participation by way of equity or control to carry out any function, or society established by central government or state government or local authority under the society and the public sector undertaking. That means if you are supplying to these people are liable to deduct TDS under section 51. Who and all? Number 1, department or establishment of central government or state government, local authority, governmental agency, an authority or board or any other body in which 51% or more of the control is held by the government, a society established by the central government or a public sector. So that is what applicability we are checking. If you are supplying taxable goods or services or both to these people where the, sir, contract value exceeds 2,50,000, the recipient is liable to deduct TDS under section. Further, for the purpose of deduction of tax, the value of supply shall be taken as the amount excluding CGST, SGST, UTGST, IGST and GST indicated in the invoice. That means, my dear lovable students, sir, we have to include all taxes other than GST. So when you are checking contract value, the applicability, you should not include the GST component. Sir, you have to see only the value of supply. If the value of supply exceeds 2,50,000, then only the applicability of deduction of TDS will come. Since in the given case, Manihar Enterprise is supplying goods and services exclusively to government department or agency and the person notified under section what 1? Applicability of TDS provision on its various receivables is examined in accordance with the above mentioned provision as under. Supply to stationery to Fisheries Department, Kolkata, 2,50,000. The payment due is 15,000. But since the contract value does not exceed 2,50,000, no need to deduct TDS by the recipient. Being an interstate supply of goods, Supply of stationery to fisheries department, Kolkata is subject to IGST at how much percent? Therefore, total value of taxable supply excluding IGST under the contract value will be 2,60,000 divided by 118 into which comes to 2,20,000, which is less than. Since a total value of supply under a contract does not exceed 2,50,000, tax is not required to be deducted. Comfortable, sir? I am coming to the second adjustment of the question. We'll be reading the second one. Supply of car rental services to Municipal Corporation of Delhi. They are an eligible person. TDS to be deducted under section what 151. What is the total? 2,95,000. So, our supplier is situated in Delhi and the recipient is also situated in Delhi. It's a dash state supply, intra-state supply. Intra-state. So, 2,95,000 divided by 118 into 100 comes to 2,50,000. It is exactly 2,50,000. If the contract value exceeds 2,50,000, then only applicability of TDS will come. Since it is exactly 2,50,000, TDS liability will not come. So, supply of car rental services to Municipal Corporation of Delhi, 2,95,000. No need to deduct TDS by the recipient. Sir, note number 2. Being an intra-state supply of what? Services. Supply of car rental services to Municipal Corporation of what? Delhi is subject to CGST and SGST at how much percent each? Therefore, total value of taxable supply excluding CGST and SGST, because since it is an intra-state supply, IGST will not come. Under contract is as follows. 2,95,000 divided by 118 into 100 comes to 2 lakh. Since the total value of supply under the contract does not exceed, tax is not required to be deducted. Fantastic to the core. I am moving into the third adjustment, shall we? Supply of a heavy machinery to a public sector undertaking located and registered in Uttarakhand. So, Uttarakhand, sir, our people are situated in Delhi, whereas the recipient is situated in Uttarakhand. So, 5,90,000 divided by 118 into comes to how much lakh? 5 lakh. So, 5 lakhs. 5 lakh. Now the contract value exceed 2,50,000, right? Is this a intra-state supply, interstate supply? Once it's an interstate supply, don't check the exclusion. Once it's an intra-state supply, after checking the threshold limit, then you have to check whether it is covered in the exclusion. If it falls in exclusion, no need to deduct the what? Comfortable, sir? Even though, sir, without tax, 5 lakh rupees is the amount, but for this current month, the value outstanding is only how much? 25,000. That means this may be in the contract. First month they would have provided 1 lakh, second month they would have provided 2 lakh, like that and all. Sir, payment due in October. In October, we are supposed to pay, they are supposed to pay only how much? 25,000. So, they will be deducting TDS not on the whole amount, but on the what due? Payment due. Shall we come on? Supply of heavy machinery to public sector undertaking located in where? Uttarakhand. What is the total value? What is the outstanding amount? I am reading note number 3. Being a dash state supply, interstate supply of goods, supply of heavy machinery to PSU in Uttarakhand is subject to IGST at how much percent? Therefore, total value of taxable supply excluding IGST under the contract is how much lakh? Which is nothing but 5,90,000 divided by 118 into, since a total value of supply under the contract exceeds how much? PSU in Uttarakhand is required to tax at how much percent? Of rupees how much? 25,000. That is how much? 500. So 25,000 into 2% comes to 500. So 500 is the TDS to be deducted. 500 is the TDS to be deducted. Is this a intra-state supply or interstate supply? So what amount they will deduct? Fantastic to the court. I am moving into the next adjustment. Supply of taxable goods. Taxable goods. Taxable goods. Yes, you should supply what? Taxable goods. to Delhi office. We are situated in Delhi. We supply to Delhi. It's a dash state supply, intra-state supply. Sir, Delhi office of National Housing Bank, a society established by Government of Sir India under the Society Registration Act. What is the total value? 6 lakh 40. First check the contract value. 6 lakh 49,000 divided by 118 into 100 comes to. This is surely more than 2 lakh 50,000. The recipient is liable to deduct as per the contract value test. As per the, is this supply intra-state supply, interstate supply? Then we are having an exception. We have to check the location of the what? Supplier, location of the what? Place of supply, and also the location of the recipient. Where the location of supplier is situated? Delhi. Supply of taxable goods to Delhi. That means place of supply will also be in Delhi. That means it's a dash state supply, intra-state supply. And recipient is also situated in what? Delhi. So supplier will charge Delhi SGST, and the recipient also can deduct Delhi SGST. Hence, TDS has to be on 5,50,000 or the balance outstanding. How much rupees? 50,000. So 50,000 into 1% CGST and 1% SGST. Comfortable, sir? So supply of taxable goods to what office? Of National Housing Bank, a society established by Government of India under the Society Registration Act. 6 lakh 49,000. But the amount outstanding is, so 50,000 into 1% comes to 500 CGST and 500. I'm coming to note number 4. Being it is a dash state supply of goods. Supply of taxable goods to National Housing Bank, Delhi, subject to CGST and SGST Act. Therefore, total value of taxable supply excluding CGST and SGST under the contract is 6,49,000 divided by into 100 comes to how much? Since the total value of supply under the contract exceed how much? National Housing Bank Delhi is required to deduct tax at how much percent? Which is 1% CGST and 1% SGST of how much? 50,000. Totally, which is 500 rupees. CGST, 500 rupees. Shall we move into the next supply? What they have made? Come on. Interior decoration of Andhra Bhavan, located in where? Delhi. We are also situated in Delhi, supplier, and the recipient is also situated in Delhi. Service contract is entered into with the government of what Pradesh? Andhra Pradesh. Registered only in what? Andhra Pradesh. That means, you tell me, sir, interior decoration relating to Andhra Bhavan. Andhra Bhavan is an immobile property. As per section 12 subsection 3, if you are providing any services relating to immobile property, place of supply is the place where the immobile property is situated or intended to be situated. Hence, sir, location of the supplier is in Delhi, whereas place of supply is in Delhi, because interior decoration of Andhra Bhavan located in Delhi. That means the supply is a intra-state supply. If it's intra-state supply, you should be very careful. Right, sir? Location of the recipient is in what? Andhra Pradesh. So the supplier will levy Delhi SGST, whereas the recipient can deduct only Andhra SGST. So this credit cannot be passed on. Because of that, my dear lovable students, there is no TDS should be for the point number 5. So, interior decoration of Andhra Bhavan located in Delhi. For this 12,39,000, entire value is outstanding, but this has fall in the exception category. Hence, no TDS has to be. We are going to read note number 5. Proviso to 51 subsection 1 of the CGST Act stipulates that no tax shall be deducted only in this one circumstances. If the location of the supplier, as per our example, where the supplier is situated? Delhi. And place of supply is in a state. As per our example, where is the place of supply? Or union territory, which is different from the state, or as the what may be. union territory or registration of the recipient. Yes, the recipient has been registered in Andhra Pradesh. Hello, sir. If the location of the supplier in one state and place of supply is also in the same state, then it will become an intra-state supply. Once it becomes an intra-state supply, if recipient is also in the same state, no problem. But if the recipient is registered in some other state, TDS should not be. As per 12.3 of the IGST Act, inter alia stipulates that place of supply of service directly in relation to what property? Including service provided by interior decoration shall be location at which the immovable property is located, or accordingly the place of supply of interior decoration of Andhra province shall be. Since the location of the supplier Manihar Enterprise and place of supply is Delhi, state of registration of the recipient is government of Andhra is in Andhra Pradesh, no TDS is liable to be deducted. Because even though this has passed the contract value test, it has failed the exception test, so TDS has not need to be deducted. I'm moving into the next adjustment. Supply of printed books and printed postcard to a West Delhi post office. We are situated in Delhi. We are going to print for a Delhi post office. Out of total contract value, how much lakh? Contract value for supply of books which are what from GST is how much lakh? So from this 9,72,000, 7 lakh put it on dustbin. So from 9,72,000, if you reduce 7 lakh, what is the balance? 2,72,000. And supply of printed postal card taxable under GST is 2,72,000. Is this 2,72,000, sir, including GST or excluding GST? Total contract value what of GST? So 2,72,000 divided by 118 into 100 comes to 2,30,508. 2,30,000. That means, my dear lovable students, which is less than 2,50,000. 2 lakh. So 50,000 for books and 20,000 for printed postcard. Since the taxable value of contract value does not exceed, no need to. That's what the next one means. Supply of printed books and printed postcard to a West Post Office. Sir, even though 9,72,000, no need to deduct what? TDS. Moving to note number 6. If the contract is made for both what supply and what supply, tax shall be deducted if the total value of taxable supply in the contract exceeds how much? Being an intra-state supply of goods, supply of printed postcard to a West Delhi post office is subject to CGST and SGST at how much percent? Therefore, total value of taxable supply excluding what and what under a contract is as follows. 2,72,000 divided by 118 into 100 comes to only 2 lakh. Since the total value of taxable supply under the contract does not exceed, tax is not required to be deducted. Shall I move into the last adjustment? Maintenance of street light in municipal area of what Delhi? The maintenance contract entered into with the Municipal Corporation of Delhi also involves replacement of defunct light and other spares. However, the value of supply is not more than 25% of the value of what supply. It is an activity in relation to a function entrusted to a municipality under Article 243W of the Constitution. We know that if you are supporting, sir, to do the statutory function entrusted to a municipality under Article 243W of the Constitution are, but the value of material should not exceed 25%. Since this is an exempt supply, no need to deduct what? TDS. Because the taxable value of supply under a contract should exceed 2,50,000. Since this is exempted, there is no question of TDS. So maintenance of street light in municipal area of East Delhi, 3,50,000. Since exempted, there is no need to deduct TDS. Composite supply of goods and services, because in that supply we will provide both goods and in which the value of supply of goods constitute not more than 25% of the value of said what supply provided to inter alia a local authority by way of any activity in relating to any function or a municipality under Article 243 is exempt from GST. Thus, maintenance of street light an activity in relation to a function entrusted to a municipality, municipal area of East Delhi involving replacement of defunct light and other spares where the value of supply of goods is not more than of the value of composite supply is a service enough from GST. Sir, since tax is liable to be deducted from payment made or credited to the supplier of taxable goods or service or both, no tax is required to be deducted in the given case as the supply is what? Exempted. Comfortable, sir? What they want? You are required to determine the amount of tax, if any, to be deducted from each of the receivable given above, assuming the rate of CGST, SGST and IGST at 9, 9 and. Will your answer be different if Moneyher enterprise is registered under composition scheme? No. Because the person who are going to deduct the TDS is not the Moneyher enterprise. They are the supplier. The recipient is the government. Recipient is only going to deduct the TDS. Whether the supplier is traveling through section 9 route or 10 route doesn't matter for the recipient, that is government. Still they will deduct what? TDS. So that's the last part of the answer, my dear lovable students. The answer will remain unchanged. Even if Moneyher enterprise is registered under the composition scheme, tax will be deducted in all cases, whether it is required to be deducted under section 51 of the VAT Act, including the scenario when the supplier is registered under the composition scheme. So, section 51 is a very easy section. Section 51 is saying that two parties will be there. One is supplier and the recipient. Here the hero is recipient. This hero, sir, may be 4 people. The recipient may be 4 people. That recipient, 4 people, is what explained here in the starting. They may be department or establishment of the central government or state government. First of all, this guy may be department or establishment of central government or number 2, local or governmental agency or notified person. We are having 3 notified persons are there. Number 1, PAS. P stands for public sector undertaking. A stands for authority or body which has been created or set up under the Act of Parliament or state legislature. In that act, body or authority, 51% will be held by the government. And the last one is society. This society will be set up by the central government. Sir, if you are supplying to these guys, then this recipient will be called it as deductor. And deductor is liable to deduct TDS under section 51. Sir, when you are checking in exam with regard to TDS, you have to check 3 conditions has been satisfied or not. If TDS 3 conditions satisfied, the recipient will deduct TDS. Condition number 1, condition number 2, condition number 3. What condition number 1 is saying that you have to check taxable supply. You have to check what? Taxable supply. That means you have to eliminate what? Exempt supply. If the supplier is supplying only taxable supply, then okay, no problem. If the supplier is supplying only exempt supply, provisions of TDS will not be applicable. If they are supplying both taxable and exempt supply, you have to exclude the exempt supply and you have to see the taxable supply. Number 2, the condition number 2 is the contract value. Is the what? When you are considering the contract value, you should not include the 2 things, man. Number 1, exempt supply and also the tax component. That means, sir, by disallowing these 2 things, that means these 2 things should not be included. When you are calculating the what value? Contract value. You should not include the exempt supply. You should see only taxable supply. And you should not include the CGST, SGST or IDT. So by disallowing 2 things, you have to find out the contract value. If that contract value exceeds 2,50,000, then the recipient is liable to deduct what? TDS. Are you totally with me? Sir, number 1, you have to check what? Whether the supply is a taxable supply or not. If it is fully exempted, leave it. If it is combination of both what and what? Taxable and exempted, You have to remove the exempt supply and you have to include only the taxable supply. And number 2 is, sir, by disallowing 2 things. Number 1, you should not consider the value of exempt supply. You should not consider the tax component. Without doing that, if the contract value
exceeds 2,50,000 TDS is applicable.
the condition number 3, if it is intra-state supply, if it is what? Intra-state supply. If it is interstate supply, game over, man, TDS will be applicable. Hello, sir. But if the answer is a what state supply? Intra-state supply. What supply? You have to check whether it is falling in the exception or not. Because, sir, supply is a taxable supply, contract value exceed. What is that exception? Only one exception is there, my dear lovable students. Sir, the supplier is situated in state A. Place of supply is also situated in state A. That means supply is a intra-state supply, whereas the recipient is registered in state B. Hello, sir. That's it. For that, no need to deduct. So, TDS. T stands for taxable supply. Supply should be a, don't include exempt supply, sir. And what? Disallowance of 2 things to find out the contract value. Second term is D. That's why 2 things you are disallowing. Number 1, exempt supply should be put it on dustbin. Tax component you should put it on dustbin. See the supply, whether it is intra-state supply or if it is what state supply? Intra-state supply, check whether it is covered in exception or what is the exception? Supplier and place of supply are in one state, whereas the recipient is registered in another state. Repeat. Supplier and the place of supply are in one state and the recipient is registered in another state. Then provisions of TDS will not be. TDS. T stands for taxable supply. D stands for disallowance. To find out the contract value, you should not include 2 things. Number 1, exempt supply should not be counted. Tax component should not be included. Without including these 2 things, sir, if the contract value exceeds 2,50,000, that means if it is exactly 2,50,000, no need to deduct the TDS. If it exceeds 2,50,000, the recipient is liable to deduct the TDS. And the last one is nature of what? Supply. Supply may be what supply? If it is interstate supply, proceed. TDS has to be deducted. If it is intra-state supply, pause. You have to check whether it is covered in the exception or not. If it is covered in the exception, no TDS has to be deducted. Are you really with me?
Yes,
This is the basics of question number 1, my dear lovable students. Hello, sir. Like this we'll be doing, sir, nearly 4 to 5 questions from, sir, TDS bar TCS. Comfortable? Have a quick revision for illustration number 1. Then I will be quickly coming to illustration number 2. Yash Shop, a registered supplier. I am waiting here. So we have done question number 1. I am moving into question number 2 of TDS bar TCS. TDS. T stands for taxable supply of goods or services or both. That means the supplier should supply. Sir, by disallowing 2 things, you have to find out the contract value. Number 1, you should not include the exempt supply. And number 2, you should not include the taxes. Without including these 2, if the contract value exceeds 2,50,000, then the recipient is liable to deduct TDS. But before that, you have to check the nature of the supply. Supply may be intra-state supply and interstate supply. If it is interstate supply, proceed. If it is intra-state supply, check whether it is falling in the exception. Exception is nothing but if the supplier and the place of supply is situated in one state and the location of the recipient is registered in another state, don't deduct. Yash Shop, a registered supplier of Jaipur, is engaged in supply of various goods and services exclusively to government department, agencies or local authority and person notified under section 51. You are required to briefly explain the provisions relating to tax deducted at source under section 51 and also determine the amount of tax, if any, to be deducted from each of the receivables given below, independent cases. Assuming that the payment as per the contract value was made on 31st of October. The rate of CGST, SGST and IGST may be assumed to be 6%, 6% and 12%. Supply of computer stationery to PSU. That means our person has supplied to a PSU, public sector undertaking. PSU is a notified person under section 51. located and registered in Mumbai. Where we are? We are in Jaipur, Rajasthan. We are in Rajasthan. But we supply to Mumbai. That means it's a dash state supply. No need to check the exception. Total contract value is 2,72,000 inclusive of GST. Sir, the supply is a taxable supply first of all. Number two, we have to check the contract value 2,72,000 divided by, look at here, it is 12%. For every question, don't put 18%. So divided by 112 into 100 comes to 2,42,000 and odd, which is less than, no need to deduct. Look at the answer, man. As per section 51 of the CGST Act, government department, agency, local authority, unnotified person are required to deduct tax at how much percent? 2%, which is 1% CGST and 1% or IGST at the rate of from payment made to the supplier of taxable goods or services, where the total value of such supply excluding taxes and compensations as indicated in the invoice under a contract exceed how much? Since in the given case, Yash Shop is supplying goods and services exclusively to government department, agencies, local authority and person notified under section of the CGST Act, applicability of TDS provision on its various receivables is examined in accordance with the above mentioned provisions as under number 1. Supply of computer stationery to PSU in where? In Mumbai. Since a total value of supply under a contract excluding IGST being a what state supply does not exceed 2,50,000, tax is not required to be deducted. So 2,72,000 divided by 112 into 100 comes to 2,42,000 only. It does not exceed 2,50,000. Hence the recipient is not liable to deduct. Coming to the second adjustment. Supply of AC is goods to GST department located and registered in Delhi. We are in Rajasthan, but they are in Delhi. It's an interstate supply. No need to check the exception. Total contract value is 2,55,000 exclusive of taxes. Then again, don't put divided by 100 and something and all. Fantastic to the core. It's not a normal procedure where every part you have to divide by 112 into 100. You have to read it whether it is inclusive of taxes or exclusive. So this is without taxes. That means contract value has been given and contract value exceeds. So TDS, taxable supply, disallowing two things, you find out the contract value. Supply is an interstate supply. It does not fall in the exception. Then my dear lovable students, the recipient is liable to deduct. TDS, you tell me, sir, TDS here, you may have a rate confusion, 51 and 52. 51 is TDS and 52 is what? If I say 1, you should say 2. If I say 2, you should say 1. Hello, sir. So 2%, which is 1% CGST and 1% SGST. Here 0.5% CGST and 0.5% is the rate. So GST department is liable to deduct TDS at the rate of 2%. Is this an interstate supply? So 2,55,000 into 2% comes to 5,100 will be deducted as, this is what 5,100 for 2,55,000. Supply of AC to GST department in Delhi, since a total value of supply under the contract excluding IGST being interstate supply exceeds how much? Tax is required to be deducted. They are deducting the TDS. Shall we move to the last adjustment? Supply of generator renting service to Municipal Corporation of Jaipur, Rajasthan. They are also in Jaipur. We are also in Jaipur. The supply is a not exempt under GST law. That means TDS. Supply should be a taxable supply of goods or service or both. Yes, taxable supply of goods or service or both. Eliminate two things. So the contract value is 3,50,000 inclusive of GST. We don't want inclusive. So 3,50,000 divided by 112 into 100 comes to 3,12,500. This contract value exceed 2,50,000. Recipient is liable to deduct at the rate of CGST 1% and SGST 1%. So supply is a intrastate supply or interstate supply? Intrastate supply. We should be careful. We have to check whether it is falling in exception or not. Where the supplier is situated in Delhi, where the place of supply is also in Delhi. So it's a intrastate supply. The location of the recipient, Municipal Corporation of Jaipur, not Delhi, no, Jaipur, no. Sorry, man, Rajasthan, no. So Rajasthan, the recipient is also situated in Rajasthan. Hence, sir, supply of generator rendering service to Municipal Corporation of Jaipur, Rajasthan. So we are also situated in Jaipur. So it's an intrastate supply. All are situated in the same state. So we will collect Jaipur CGST, Jaipur SGST, and the recipient will also deduct Jaipur SGST. So credit can be passed on. We have to deduct what? TDS. So supply of generator rendering services to Municipal Corporation of Jaipur. Since the total value of supply under the contract, excluding CGST and SGST being intrastate supply, exceeds how much? Tax is required to be deducted. So the value comes to 3,12,500. 3,12,500 into 1% come to 3,125 and 3,125. 3,125 and 3,125 and 5,100 is the total TDS to be deducted by the recipient. Are you comfortable, sir?
Yes, sir.
Sir, how these questions are testing in examination, my dear lovable students? We'll be doing one past examination question. This is a Jan 21 question. From the following information of independent cases, your expert advice with appropriate reasoning is sought on the applicability of TDS bar TCS provision of the CGST Act. We are going to do both TDS and TCS. You shall also quantify the amount of TDS or TCS as the case may be if the same is what? Applicable. Top Fashions, a designer cloth dealer and registered in the state of West Bengal, effected supply through Quick Deal. What deal?
Quick Deal.
A e-commerce operator. Net value of supply. Net value of taxable intra-state supply effected for the month of October was how much? We already know that there is a threshold limit for TDS, whereas there is no threshold limit for TCS. Sir, on net supply, the e-commerce operator is liable to collect TCS at the rate of 0.5% CGST and 0.5%. That's what we are going to do, man. An e-commerce operator is required to collect what? TCS. At an amount of 1%, which is CGST 0.5% and SGST 0.5%, on the net value of taxable supply made through it by other supplier. So 1,50,000 into 0.5% comes to 750 rupees. The e-commerce operator should collect as, and 750 rupees the e-commerce operator has to collect as SGST. This is not TDS. This is what? TCS. T stands for taxable supply of what or what or what? Goods or service or both. Through what commerce operator? E-commerce operator, not being an agent. Through e-commerce operator not being a agent. Then he is supposed to collect TCS at the rate of 0.5% CGST and 0.5% SGST. If the supply is a what state supply? Intra-state supply. But if the supply is a interstate supply, 1%. There is no exception to the TCS. Shall I read the second part of the question? Mrs. Super Builder, a registered supplier in Tamil Nadu, that means supplier is situated in, was awarded a works contract by government of Tamil Nadu amounting to how much? So the recipient is going to be government of Tamil Nadu, notified person, registered person, 51, covered person. Of this value of exempt supply, what, how much? So TDS, 4,30,000 minus comes to 3,30,000. Sir, is it inclusive of GST or exclusive of GST? Is this 3,30,000 inclusive of GST or exclusive of GST? From the following information of the independent cases, your expert advice with appropriate reason is sought on the applicability of TDS or TCS provision of the CGST Act. You shall also quantify the amount of TDS as the case may be if the same is applicable. This is just the contract value. So 3,30,000 is exceeds 2,50,000. Then that guy has to liable to what? Deduct TDS. You tell me, is it a taxable? Have you taken only taxable supply? Yes, sir. Is the contract value exceed 2,50,000? Is this an intra-state supply or interstate supply? Intra-state supply, because both the supplier and the place of supply are situated in Tamil Nadu. So we have to check the exception. Sir, all the people are situated in Tamil Nadu, so exception will not be. So on this 3,30,000, 1% CGST, that means 3,300 CGST and 3,300. A state government is required to deduct tax from the payment made to the supplier of taxable what or what? Where the total value of such supply, excluding GST, under a contract exceed what? TDS to be deducted in the given intra-state supply, since place of supply and the location of supplier is in Tamil Nadu, as follows: 3,300 and 3,000. Comfortable, sir. Tasty Caterers, a registered supplier of Kerala. So supplier is situated in Kerala. Provided catering services in Cochin, Kerala to government of Andhra Pradesh for its annual training camp held for its staff. Value of such service was how much? 4,50,000. You have to check TDS. T stands for taxable supply of goods or services. Yes, it is a taxable supply of goods or services or both. The contract value is 4,50,000. Yes, sir. Which exceeded 2,50,000. Is this a interstate supply or intra-state supply? Supplier is in Kerala. Supply is in Kerala. Restaurant services. CGST and SGST has to be collected because place where the service has been actually performed. Right? So it's a dash state supply. Now you have to check whether it is covering in the exception or not. Yes, sir. Yes, the recipient is government of Andhra Pradesh. Generally, they would have registered only in Andhra Pradesh. So TDS will not be applicable. If the government of Andhra Pradesh is registered in Kerala, then TDS provisions will be. Since in the given case, location of the supplier and place of supply are in same state, that is Kerala, and location of the recipient is what? Andhra Pradesh government is not required to deduct what? Although the total value of supply under a contract is more than, however, if the Andhra Pradesh government is having registration in Kerala, then TDS will be applicable. That is practically very much not possible. But if they are having registration in Kerala, then TDS has to be deducted. In the above question, it is assumed that the value given is what? Wherever applicable, since a rate of tax is not given in the question. Pakka? Yes, very brilliant and a logical assumption, man. So I am moving into the next question. Like this only they are testing in examination. Shall we do one more question? Illustration number 2 from the past examination. Yes, sir. A central government department located in Uttar Pradesh is registered with Commercial Tax Department UP state for deducting GST. It entered into a contract with public sector undertaking registered under GST in the state of where? Delhi, for supplying goods valued how much? 3,50,000. So there are two people are there. Central government department. So there is a government department located in what? Uttar Pradesh. Is registered with the Commercial Tax Department UP. So they are under the Commercial Tax Department UP for deducting TDS. It entered into a contract with whom? Public sector undertaking. Registered under GST where? In Delhi. For supply of goods valued how much? 3,50,000. Fine. So they have entered into a supply. My question to you, who is going to supply goods to whom? PSU is going to supply goods to the Uttar Pradesh government. The PSU argues that no tax is deductible on this supply by what government? As it is located outside the state of Uttar Pradesh and therefore not liable to tax. Under the CGST and SGST, it is a local levy and IGST tax deduction is not applicable if it is located in what state? Other than the state in which department is registered, you are required to comment on this is the question. So you tell me, sir, certain specific person are required to deduct TDS tax. Basically 4 people. From the payment made to the supplier of taxable goods or services where total value of such supply excluding what? Under a contract exceed. However, tax is not liable to be deducted at source when supply of goods or service has taken place between one specified person to another specified person. This we have discussed in class. Since both central government department and PSU are the specified person, tax is not deductible in case of supply of goods between them. So my dear lovable students, between that 4 specified people, if one person is supplying to another person, the provisions of TDS will not be applicable. I'm moving to the next part of the question. Would there be any difference if instead of PSU, if it was an entity in private sector, applicable tax rate for deduction is 1% CGST and 1% SGST and 2% IGST? Yes. TDS has to be deducted. Who's the service provider? PSU. But now they changed the PSU to a private sector. Where this PSU was registered? Delhi. So this service provider is in Delhi and the recipient is Uttar Pradesh. It's a dash state supply.
Interstate supply.
TDS condition has been satisfied. So answer will change. The central government department is mandated to require to deduct TDS. IGST at how much percent? Why IGST? Since it's a private entity and not the what person. Fantastic to the core. If the private sector entity undertake what's contract for the above department in what Delhi? New Delhi. If the private sector entity undertake works contract for the above department in New Delhi, what would be the position of tax deduction when the contract value is how much? 5 lakh. Sir, private sector entity, sir, for the above department works contract in New Delhi, where the supplier is situated in? The private sector entity, where they are situated? Delhi. And they are doing a works contract in Delhi. So location of the supplier in Delhi, place of supply Delhi. It's a intra-state supply, whereas location of the registration of the recipient. Who's the recipient? Government. What government? Uttar Pradesh government. So they have taken registration in UP. Will this falling under the exception to TDS? So are they liable to deduct TDS? Not liable to deduct TDS. Since in the given case, location of the supplier and place of supply is in the same state. That is where. And location of the recipient is in UP, central government department is not required to deduct what? TDS. Although the total value of supply under the contract is more than. Comfortable, sir? The disbursing officer has not paid the tax deducted in the month of February, amounting to how much? Under the CGST, and 2 lakh under the what? To the government's account on the relevant due date, but has paid it on 14th May 2021. Further return for that month is also filed on that date and certificate is also issued simultaneously. What are the consequences of such failure to the disbursing officer under the GST law? That means after deducting the TDS, they have not paid within 10th of the. What are the consequences they have to pay? These are the consequences. Failure to deposit TDS with the government and failure to furnish TDS return within the stipulated time period will result in following consequence. Interest at the rate of 18% on the amount of tax deducted shall be payable. Late fee of how much rupees per day for the period of delay in furnishing return. Maximum how much? 1000 under the CGST Act shall be payable. Equal amount of late fee will be payable under the respective state law. That means, sir, under the CGST Act, 25 rupees per day up to a maximum of 1000. And also 25 rupees per day under what? The SGST Act, subject to a maximum of 1000. And applicable penalty will also be leviable under section 122 subsection 1 of the what Act? CGST Act. These are the consequences you are supposed to be faced. This is the past examination, November 20 question. I'm moving into the last question from this slot, which is illustration number 3. It's a November 22 question. BSA Corporation is a public sector undertaking. Is PSU a notified person?
Yes, sir.
Registered in Karnataka. For entertainment event in Bangalore and also at Mumbai, BSA has given contract to Mr. A, renowned artist, registered person in Maharashtra, to perform on contemporary Bollywood songs. BSA Corporation agreed to pay 12,39,000 and to 18,29,000 inclusive of GST. Anyway, the contract value exceeds 2,50,000. There is no problem at all for Mumbai and Bangalore events respectively. You tell me, so public sector undertaking, they are registered in Karnataka, have a deal with Mr. A to support them in where and where? Mumbai and Bengaluru. So in Mumbai, they are paying, including GST, 12,39,000. In Bengaluru, they are paying 18,29,000. Anyway, put together the contract value exceed 2,50,000. Right. BSA Corporation seeks your advice regarding the amount of TDS to be deducted, assuming GST rate at 18%, CGST 9 and SGST 9 and IGST 18. So you tell me, who is going to conduct the function? Public sector undertaking is going to conduct the function. So they will be taking admission to the events. Whereas, sir, Mr. A A renowned artist is going to organize the function by way of in that they are going to provide the services. So we are having two place of supply sections are there, 12.6 and 12.7. 12.6 is admission to events. Admission to that will be applicable to BSA Corporation because they are going to conduct the function. Whereas to Mr. A, they are going to organize the event by way of delivering their services there. So according to 12.7 organization of event, you have to check whether it is a service has been provided to a registered person or yes, it is to a registered person because BSA Corporation is registered in where? Karnataka. So place of supply is the location of such person. So place of supply is equal to Karnataka. Who is the service provider? Mr. A, sir, renowned artist, right? Sir, he is registered in where? Maharashtra. So Maharashtra and Karnataka, it's a what state supply? You have to check TDS is the supply, taxable supply of goods or services or both. Is the contract value exceed 2,50,000? Is the supply a intra-state supply or interstate supply? Proceed. No need to check anything. TDS has to be deducted at 1% CGST and 1% CGST, 1% SGST. If it is a and 2% IGST, if it is a, in our case it's a interstate supply as per section 51 of the VAT Act. A notified recipient is required to deduct CGST at 1%, SGST at 1% or IGST at 2% from the payment made or credited to the supplier of the taxable goods or service or both, where the total value of such supply under a contract exceed how much. The notified persons, the notified recipients are these guys. We repeated so many times. A department or establishment of central government or a state government or a local authority or a governmental agency or an authority or a body or any other body set up by an act of parliament or what legislation or established by any government with 51% or more participation by way of equity or control to carry out any function or society established by central government or state government or local authority under the what act or what sector undertaking. In the present case, BSA Corporation is a public sector undertaking and falls under the notified recipient. Also has the value of supply under the contract excluding GST is 26 lakh, which is nothing but 12 lakh 39 plus 18 lakh 29. You will get the full value that is including GST divided by 118 to 100. You are getting 26 lakh, which is anyway more than 50,000. So TDS is to be deducted and remitted by the BSA. As per section 12.7 of the VAT Act, place of supply in case of ancillary services in relation to organization of an event is the location of the recipient if the service are provided to a what person. In the present case, as BSA Corporation is registered in where? Karnataka. Place of supply with reference to service provided by artist is what? Karnataka. And is in the interstate supply as the location of artist is Maharashtra and is chargeable to what? IGST. You tell me, you just think from the angle of the artist. Is the artist a service provider, service recipient? Service provider. Actually, they are providing service to BSA Corporation. They are a public sector undertaking. Sir, actually, artist is not putting the table, chair or putting the lights or mic and they are not conducting the function. By that way, they are not organizing the function. But when you check 12.7, sir, there are two things are there, 12.6 and 12.7. 12.6 is admission to events. Right? Admission to event means the person who are conducting the function. Sir, but they are not conducting the function. The artist is actually providing an ancillary services to organization of the event. Ancillary services to? That means if the artist did not came and perform there, no one will come and see. So, when you check 12.7, you are having one more item is there called as ancillary services. So, ancillary services to organizing an event, in that he will fall. So for him the place of supply will not be applicable as per 12.6. For him the place of supply will be applicable as per. Now read that line. As per 12.7 of the IGST Act, place of supply in case of ancillary services in relation to organization of event. Actually he is not the person who are organizing the event. He is just providing an ancillary services relating to what? Is the location of the recipient if service is provided to a what person. In the present case, as BSA Corporation is registered in Karnataka, place of supply with reference to service provided by artist is Karnataka and it is interstate supply as the location of artist is in Maharashtra and is chargeable to what? BSA Corporation is required to deduct under section 51 of the how much percent? on the payment made or credited to the supplier. As per explanation to 51, for the purpose of deduction of tax specified above, value of supply shall be taken as amount excluding the central tax, union territory tax, integrated tax and cess indicated in the above. Therefore, TDS payable by BSA Corporation will be value of supply into 2%. What is the value of supply? 26 lakhs. Is it including taxes, excluding taxes? Excluding taxes, because totally we are getting 12 lakh 39,000 and 18 lakh 29,000. 30 lakh 68,000. We have removed that 18%. We got 26 lakh. On that 26 lakhs, TDS has to be deducted at the rate of 2%. Because TDS condition has been satisfied. T stands for there should be supply of taxable supply of goods or services or both. And the contract value should exceed 2,50,000 by disallowing two things. One is exempt supply and number two is tax component. And the supply should be an interstate supply. If the supply is an intra-state supply, all the people should be situated in one state, same state. That is, the location of the supplier and the place of supply are in one state, and the recipient, location of the recipient are registered in some other state. Provisions of TDS will not be. With this, we can say that the questions related to TDS and TCS, that is 51 TDS and 52 TCS, comes to one. If I say one section, you have to say another name. 51, how much percent? 2%. CGST 1%, SGST 1%, or 52 1% IGST or 0.5% CGST